Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Sharon's diabolical twist, Lucy kidnapped and punished. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, is already spiraling due to being off her meds. Sharon is already having a tough time handling hallucinations of Cameron Kirsten, Lyndon Ashby. Now Faith Newman's Raylan Castor. Life hangs in the balance after helping Lucy Romalotti, Lily Brooks O'Brien. With Cameron urging Sharon to go to the dark side, could she target Lucy in a horrifying way? Keep reading and let's talk about the possibilities. Our spoilers reveal that Lucy has been drinking to cope with anxiety, intrusive thoughts, and loneliness. Lucy seems to have a hard time making friends, but is going about it in all the wrong ways. For some reason, Lucy seems to be fixated on being BFFs with Faith, who is older and in college. Despite the age difference and Lucy's clinginess, Faith went ahead to help her anyway. Faith will regret this, and I'm sure Sharon will regret pushing her daughter to help Lucy one last time. While Faith has been dealing with the Lucy situation, Sharon has her own crisis going on. Sharon is trying to cover with her loved ones by acting like her mental health is getting under control. In reality, Sharon hasn't done a thing and certainly hasn't called her doctor as promised. Instead, Sharon's hallucinations of Cameron are getting more frequent and more concerning. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that during the week of August 26, 2024, Lucy and Faith get into a car crash. While Lucy gets tough love from Daniel Romalotti, Jr., Michael Griside, and Heather Stevens, Vale Bloom, Faith isn't mentioned the entire week. So, it's possible that Faith might be unconscious or even in a coma for a while. That would let Sharon's anger and resentment swirl, leading up to an explosive outcome. It is teased that during the week of August 26, Cameron pressures Sharon to embrace her dark side. So I have to wonder if Sharon will target Lucy, especially if Faith's fate remains unclear. It would be horrific for a character to go after a child. At the same time, both Lyndon Ashby and Sharon Case told Soap Opera Digest that this story is a bit different from past versions. The actors also said that Sharon and Cameron's journey is just getting started. So, could Sharon kidnap Lucy and hold her hostage somewhere? I have a feeling that Case is about to embrace some real meaty scenes, so stay tuned. Sharon Newman had always been known as a woman of resilience and grace. Through the trials and tribulations that life had thrown at her, she had emerged stronger each time, earning the respect and admiration of those around her. But beneath her polished exterior, a storm was brewing, a storm that no one could have anticipated. It began with a letter, a simple, unassuming envelope delivered to Sharon's doorstep. The contents, however, were anything but ordinary. Inside was a photograph of her daughter, Faith, laughing with Lucy Romalotti at Crimson Lights, seemingly taken from a distance. Along with the photograph was a note, typed out in a font as cold and unfeeling as the message itself. "You took something precious from me. Now it's my turn." Sharon's heart raced as she stared at the note, her mind working overtime to piece together what this could mean. She had no enemies, at least none that she was aware of. The idea that someone could be targeting her family, especially her daughter, was unthinkable. But as she mulled over the possibilities, one name kept resurfacing in her thoughts: Cameron Kirsten. Cameron had been a dark chapter in Sharon's life, a man who had terrorized her and her family before meeting a grisly end. But was it truly the end? The idea that Cameron could be behind this torment was chilling, but Sharon knew she couldn't jump to conclusions. She needed to get to the bottom of this before any real harm came to Faith, or anyone else. Days passed, and Sharon kept a watchful eye on Faith, trying her best not to alarm her. But as the days turned into weeks, the letters kept coming, each one more sinister than the last. They were all accompanied by photographs of Faith and Lucy, blissfully unaware of the danger lurking just out of sight. The tension within Sharon grew unbearable. She knew she had to take matters into her own hands, even if it meant playing dirty. Sharon's first move was to enlist the help of Adam Newman. Their complicated history aside, Adam had the resources and the connections to help her uncover the truth. He agreed, but not without expressing his concerns about Sharon's safety. "Whatever you're planning, Sharon, be careful," Adam warned. This is a dangerous game you're playing." But Sharon was beyond caution. The thought of someone harming her daughter had ignited a fire within her, a fire that would not be extinguished until this threat was neutralized. Adam's warnings echoed in her mind, but she pressed forward, determined to protect her family at any cost. Meanwhile, Lucy, oblivious to the shadow looming over her, continued to enjoy her time in Genoa City. Her relationship with Daniel had been strained since her return, but she had found solace in her friendship with Faith. The two girls were inseparable, their laughter a constant presence in the Newman household. But that laughter would soon be silenced in the most harrowing way imaginable. It happened on a rainy afternoon. Faith and Lucy had planned to meet at Crimson Lights, as they often did after school. But when Faith arrived, Lucy was nowhere to be found. Assuming she was running late, Faith ordered a hot chocolate and settled into their usual spot by the window. Minutes turned into hours, and still Lucy didn't show. Worried, Faith tried calling her friend, but her calls went straight to voicemail. Panic set in. Faith rushed home to tell Sharon, her voice trembling with fear. Sharon's heart dropped. She knew, deep down, that this was it, the moment the anonymous tormentor had been leading up to. Without wasting a second, she called Adam and explained the situation. Adam mobilized his resources, but even he knew it might be too late. As the hours dragged on, Sharon received the message she had been dreading. Her phone buzzed, and when she checked the screen, her blood ran cold. It was another photograph, this time of Lucy, bound and gagged, with a blindfold covering her eyes. The message accompanying the photograph was chillingly simple: "Meet me where it all began." Sharon knew exactly where that was, an old abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. It was where Cameron had once held her captive, where she had thought she had finally put an end to his reign of terror. But now, it seemed, the nightmare was far from over. Determined to face her tormentor head-on, Sharon decided to go to the warehouse alone. Adam insisted on coming with her, but Sharon refused. "This is my fight," she told him, her voice steely with resolve. "I need to end this, once and for all." When Sharon arrived at the warehouse, the air was thick with tension. The building was just as she remembered it: dark, damp, and filled with the echoes of a past she had tried so hard to forget. She stepped inside, her heart pounding in her chest, and there in the center of the room was Lucy, tied to a chair. "Let her go," Sharon demanded, her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and anger. But the figure who stepped out of the shadows was not who she expected. It wasn't Cameron, but it was someone equally dangerous. Phyllis Summers. Sharon's breath caught in her throat. "Phyllis," she whispered, her mind struggling to make sense of what she was seeing. "What are you doing here?" Phyllis smirked, her eyes glinting with malice. "You didn't think you'd get away with it, did you, Sharon? You took everything from me, my family, my reputation. Now I'm taking something from you." Sharon was stunned. "Phyllis, this isn't the way to handle things. Lucy is innocent in all of this." "Innocent?" Phyllis scoffed. "There's no innocence left in this world, Sharon, not after what you've done." The confrontation escalated, with Phyllis revealing the depths of her resentment towards Sharon. In her mind, Sharon had stolen her life, piece by piece, until there was nothing left. Now Phyllis was determined to make Sharon pay, no matter the cost. But Sharon, ever the survivor, wasn't about to let Phyllis have the upper hand. As Phyllis ranted, Sharon noticed a loose pipe on the ground within arm's reach. She needed to act fast. With a swift movement, Sharon lunged for the pipe and swung it at Phyllis, knocking her off balance. Phyllis stumbled, and Sharon seized the opportunity to free Lucy from her bonds. "Run, Lucy, get out of here," Sharon urged, pushing the girl towards the door. Lucy, terrified and disoriented, didn't need to be told twice. She bolted out of the warehouse, leaving Sharon and Phyllis alone in their showdown. "You'll pay for this, Sharon," Phyllis hissed, struggling to regain her footing, but Sharon was done with words. She had been pushed to her limit, and there was no turning back now. The two women clashed in a brutal fight, their years of animosity boiling over in a violent confrontation. But Sharon, fueled by a mother's fury, ultimately overpowered Phyllis. With Phyllis subdued, Sharon stood over her, breathing heavily, her hands trembling. "It's over," Sharon said, her voice shaking with emotion. "You're going to pay for what you've done." As sirens wailed in the distance, signaling the arrival of the police, Sharon knew that this was the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Phyllis would face justice and Lucy would be safe, but the cost had been high, too high. Sharon walked out of the warehouse, the weight of what had just happened pressing down on her. The rain had stopped, and the sky was beginning to clear, but Sharon knew that the storm inside her was far from over. She had crossed a line, and there was no going back.